We keep talking about stuff that Matt Painter said on the A Starstruck podcast because it was like probably the coolest Painter long form interview in podcast form I've ever seen. So yeah, go watch it again. Just continuously shamelessly plugging that podcast. It was really, really good. But there's another clip that has been released from this that has me thinking. Want some thoughts from you here. Matt Painter's talking goals for Purdue. Obviously, this team has goals to make it to a Final Four, win a national championship, win the Big Ten, hang banners, all those things that the preseason number one team in the sport should aspire to do. We've even heard players, TKR, and Painter himself, flatly say, our goal is to win the national championship. We think we're the best team in the country, blah, 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 blah. Well, Painter has a new goal. First time I've heard him say this goal out loud. This is what he told the Starstruck podcast. He said, quote, we were the seventh best offensive team in the country last year. The year before, with Zach Edey, we were the fourth best offensive team in the country. That's our goal for next year. Be the best offensive team in the country. End quote. This is music to your ears. This speaks to you on a spiritual level, I think. What do you think about this quote?
They don't put stops on the scoreboard for a reason. Like that jumbotron up paint. I like it. I like it. I like this approach. Stops are stops. You wanna know what outdo stops? If you get more buckets than the other team. Um, Now on a serious note, even though I do love that, what was the big issue with Purdue last season? Like I know they had some offensive woes, but what was the real crux of the issue?
It'd be stops.
Yeah, yeah. Like the rim was it looked like this. It was like, hey, like you're John Tanji, right?
Yeah.
Rim. Like I think what was didn't Deaver go in there and get a dub?
Last year?
Yeah. In the
Last
Mackey?
year, yeah. Diebler went into Mackey and got it done, as did Greg Gard. That's actually only two losses at Mackey. That makes
Yeah, so
sense.
like that, like basically it was like, you know what I'm saying, the bouncer was Purdue and they're at the door like, okay, what are your is it Bruce Thornton? Yeah, your name's on the list. Go ahead to the basket. Like go ahead and make your way there. They do need to it's interesting that, in an off season where Paint has operated to fix the issues that they had, which I didn't think were necessarily offensive, for the most part. He didn't really address those in his words, but like his actions said otherwise. Because I think he did, obviously Jacobson back healthy, Clough for the rebounding. Now he did get, Omer, right? That's definitely an offensive push there. Even a guy to like an ad of a Liam Murphy, who's a shooter. That's another offensive ad necessarily, but
I
um,
think even to an extent, Clough's an offensive ad.
yeah,
He
yeah. So
helps
like
your defense because he's an upgrade over the medic.
yeah,
Um, but like
don't disrespect my dog C first. All right, medic is crazy.
surgeon, what's the proper term for his career path?
Honestly, I implore you to guess what field of medicine Caleb first is in.
Mm, is he like a plastic surgeon? That'd be funny.
Honestly, I feel like he'd be an optometrist.
Honestly, did you see the? We're going off on a tangent right now, but I have this in my mind, and it's funny enough. I have to let the whole world think of it. The Cavender twins.
Yeah,
Do you see they got plastic surgery done?
you think first did that?
I'm now picturing Caleb First being the Cavender twins plastic surgeon, and I'm cracking up.
Okay, and also he has technically, let's not go too crazy here, but does have the wingspan, I think, if he can use both hands to operate at the same time.
Okay, yeah, you could do two surgeries at once. That'd be good. Okay.
Well, can you catch lobs? No, and that's why Oscar Clough is here.
And that's why it was an offensive upgrade as well as a defensive upgrade. Okay, I knew this quote would speak to you. You infamously a couple years ago dubbed Illinois your team, and what was the saying in every single recap that year?
If you're not ready to score 90, don't show up to State Farm, please.
That was then they won a lot of games with that approach. And if
Hmm.
throughout the season there were a lot of moments where Brad Underwood was talking about defense or problems they were having, or we would even need to come on and criticize the scheme. What can they do differently? And pretty much every time that was raised, you would respond with, "Greg, who cares? Score 90." That's all we need to do to win games. Here's the simple truth of this. Matt Painter is right. This team should be the number one offense in the country. I mean, how many times in 32 years that I've been on this planet has a team returned two All Americans who are both, I would say, stronger offensively than they are defensively? I mean, let's
Yeah.
just be clear about it. TKR is not an All American because of anything he does on that end of the court. Braden Smith is a good defender. I think a very smart, opportunistic defender. But I mean, these guys are offensive geniuses. Savant is a word that Matt Painter described Braden Smith with when he was recruiting him. So, to me, given what they have, the real identity of this team, I have zero issue with Paint going on record and saying out loud, "Hey, our goal is to be the number one offense in the country." That's what they should be. Like, just personnel wise, this team is good enough to do that. This is the only reason I think this is worth a conversation is let's just look at KenPom. Last year, seventh best offense in the country, 53rd best defense in the country. The reason they weren't Final Four good was the defense. And I think if there is one question, I'm not even going to call it a criticism, but it's a question that some smart people have raised this summer. It's been, why didn't Purdue make any ads that help the defense specifically? Because you do go through, Clough is probably the one you can argue is really going to help them. Obviously, Daniel Jacobson's rim protection changes everything in a positive way. Just having those two guys should take this defense from 53rd to, I don't know, top 30. But it's a fair critique to say that Liam Murphy's not going to help this defense. Omer Meyer, we don't really know, right? Like, they didn't go out and get the quote unquote Lance Jones guy that is going to fix the perimeter defense. And you're probably hoping that Jakari Harris and CJ Cox become that guy. I think both those guys are high level defenders. So maybe you already have it homegrown as is. But the simple truth is, and people have done studies on this, people have reported on this. If you want to win a national championship, you need to be roughly a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. That's the formula. Go back 20 years. It's literally the formula. You have to be very good, maybe not elite, but very good on both sides of the ball. And every year we try and talk ourselves into the team that is the number one offense, that has like the 44th best defense. And every year that team loses before the national championship game. So for me, again, he's right to be saying this out loud. It's a great goal. They should be the number one offense in the country. You cannot just offense your way to a national championship. That's been proven. I think Matt Painter would even agree with that, but this is
Can
an
I put
interesting
can
twist.
I push back?
Sure.
Greg, a great man once said, I want to say it was Sir Isaac Newton who created inertia, by the way. It's crazy to think you can do something until you do it. Why don't you just be the first team that offenses your way to a national title?
So you think that's possible?
Yeah. And I think that Matt Painter has a Sir Isaac John Newton face.
Okay. The lowest graded defense to win a national championship in the history of the Ken Palm database. Any guesses what that is?
Ooh, in the KenPom database, I'm gonna say it. Actually, no, I don't even want to take a guess. I'm sorry. Nope. 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 Nope.
22nd.
22nd. Was that? No, it couldn't be that. Was it a Villanova team?
Baylor, Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, second best offense, 22nd best defense, won a national title.
Really? They were only 20. That team was 22nd, huh?
Shocked me too.
Huh. Wow. There must have been some nasty defensive teams that year.
A good year. Good year. But
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so this is all about offense. Do you think Paint's going to build the number one offense in the sport this year?
I
I mean,
think
will say not having the number one offense when you had Zach Edey, kind of crazy. Like
where
I
were
know
they?
they were elite. They finished fourth, but like,
Yeah.
who were the offenses that were better than Purdue that year? Let me look.
I mean, was UConn better?
Wait a second. Hold on.
I think UConn was the number one offense.
Hold,
I,
please.
I don't know.
He said what? They were fourth.
I think you said they were fourth, didn't you?
What's the quote here? We got to fact check Paint, right? Is Paint doing the thing again? Is Paint
No. No, no, not me.
Paint?
Not me. Nope, 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 nope.
Hold
Nope,
on.
nope, nope, nope,
He
nope, nope.
said we were the seventh best offensive team in the country last year. The year before, we were fourth with Edie. Ken Palm says this is. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the wrong year. Correct, 7-4. Okay, I come on. Everybody breathe. Everybody breathe for a second.
There was no need to fact check that.
I had to fact check that. Okay, offenses that finished ahead of Purdue with Zach Edey. Any guesses? They should honestly be pretty easy to get.
UConn,
UConn, the national champs, number one offense.
that's all I care about.
Alabama, Nate Oates, number two offense, also a Final Four team. Mark Sears, Grant Nelson.
Mm.
You should be able to get the third. Who had the third best offense in Zach Edey's final year at Purdue? Team that liked to score 90 a lot.
Illinois?
Illinois was
Hmm.
a better offense than Zach Edey
That was a
year
fun
two.
year. That was a fun year,
It was
man.
a really fun year. Illinois also had
Um,
the 80th best defense and lost in the Elite Eight by
ooh,
50.
to UConn, to the national champion.
Sure. Which, by the
Yeah,
way, UConn top five offense and defense.
yeah. I think that they will be a top. I think they will be the best offense in the sport. I do.
Okay. I think they should be.
I can't think of a team right now that is like distinctively, oh, they're for sure 100% going to be better offensively.
Yeah, I think they should be. On paper, I think they are the best offense in the sport. Where do they finish defensively?
I think their championship would look a lot like that Baylor year defense. I think they'd be like 20, the 25th best defense. Maybe even 30 to be honest with you.
I think they could crack the top 20. I think if you don't see a path to like the teens for this Purdue defense, I think you actually should step back and be like, can this team win a national title?
Great rim protectors, don't get me wrong. Savvy wing defender. I say savvy because it's to cover up for the fact this light in the ass. All three of them.
I mean, I will say this, Cart.
All three of them size 28 waist pants. Light in the ass, short inseam.
If it's good they have the number one offense in the country as a goal. Kind of want to hear some quotes about defense. Just a tiny little bit like, yeah, this team, like defense will decide where this team goes. Because I think that's true. I don't think Purdue can offense their way to a national title this year. They're going to have to find answers defensively, despite whatever you say in recaps. Um, with that said, if hypothetically this season doesn't go to plan for Purdue and they lose before a Final Four, not saying like big underwhelming year, but even like a good year where they win the Big Ten and finish in the Elite Eight or something. I do think there's a world that we look back at the end of this year where TKR and Fletcher and Braden are all gone. And we all sort of have the collective realization of like, oh yeah, it makes sense that those three without Zach Edey were not good enough defensively. Right? Like just step back for a moment. It's Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman Wren, and Braden Smith. That's not yeah, how do you build a great defense when you need those three on the court for 35 minutes each, right?
It's gonna be tough.
But maybe the flip is this year you don't need them on the court for 35 minutes. But
That's very true.
I guess we'll see.